Hello and welcome to My Mom's Basement presented by 3Chi and Barstool Sports, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Robbie Fox, and with me is my co-host, Clem, to break down the second episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We were here last week on YouTube. We made our big premiere, and since last week, we've actually been on YouTube twice. So if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube yet, you are missing out on My Mom's Basement content. I just want to start by saying that we broke down our thoughts on Black Widow getting delayed, going to Disney Plus, even the Suicide Squad trailer. So if you're interested in hearing our thoughts on that, head on over to the My Mom's Basement YouTube, subscribe, and check those videos out there, each about 10 minutes. And we're going to do that going forward. It was a Clem idea. So Clem, I'd like to thank you for that idea. It was a great one.
You called it Clem Tube. I appreciated that. These are YouTube exclusives. That's how you have to pump the people up. We were even getting into it after you raised a question that you posed on the podcast, and then obviously we cut for social. But about potentially doing a Barstool at the movies, I don't know if that is even possible or feasible given the stuff going on now with COVID, but down the road, if not sooner rather than later. But we're only inviting people that at least click subscribe. Just clicking subscribe on the YouTube is so easy. You just log into your Gmail or whatever you have. You click subscribe. You tell your mom to subscribe. You go when you're in the basement. You say, "Ma, can I click subscribe?" Because she doesn't know what she's doing. I know my mom does it. Then you tell your dad. You tell your friends, and everyone subscribes. And we have everyone. The YouTube grows. We need the YouTube to grow. We need to trick the algorithm.
We need to trick the algorithm. That's what we're trying to do every night. We're trying to trick the algorithm into putting us on the front page, and then My Mom's Basement goes to the penthouse, like we say each and every week. So go to our YouTube videos, click like if you haven't already. It's where is it? That way. Hit like down there, and then hit subscribe down there. And then we're all going to be happy. We're all going to be a happy family down here in the basement. If you're listening on Apple, I still appreciate you. If you're listening on Spotify, I still appreciate you. But there is a new video component added. It's not just like a video of us talking. I'll throw in clips that we're talking about. I'll throw in visual cues. So check it out on YouTube. And before we get into the episode, I just want to do a little bit more house cleaning and tell everyone about 3Chi. 3Chi is the greatest sponsor in the world because they're the greatest product in the world. The weather's getting nice, and I'll tell you what, I don't love anything more than taking a little 3Chi, going out on my balcony, and just looking at the trees in Jersey and being like, damn, these trees look bright and vibrant on 3Chi. It's the greatest stuff in the world. What is it? It's Delta-8 THC. It is THC directly derived from hemp, not marijuana, so it is 100% federally legal in the United States of America. This stuff is amazing. It's grown in the United States. It's formulated by a biochemist. They've got vapes. They've got tinctures. They've now got chocolate chip cookies. They've even got gummies. I mean, I know. They're up in their game. Chocolate chip cookies. I have to try them. I haven't had them yet, but I hear they're fantastic. I need some chocolate chip cookies. If anyone from 3Chi's listening, send me a Chips Ahoy box full of them because I'm going to eat them all.
Us, a Chips Ahoy box.
I'm sorry, us, me and Clem.
I'm going to have to look into this live right now. Delta-8 cookies, there they are. It's 50 milligram. You see the bag there, and it looks like a solid cookie right there, and the calming body sensation, which is, me and Luke always say, that's the way it's a body feel. You just feel the body, a little soothing, relaxation, good vibes, positive vibes only.
So go to 3chi.com right now, use the promo code MMB, and you'll get 5% off your order. I want to hear how these cookies are, so send us cookie reviews as well. Be like, the cookie was, it tasted this good, and it affected me this much, let us know.
This is the thing about being a parent. They always say you love all your kids the same. That is true. However, I like all kids differently based on how they're acting. Sienna's usually at the top of the chart. AJ's lower in the power rankings. We love all our listeners the same, but we like the ones that subscribe on YouTube, listen to the podcast, get the 3Chi. And listen, you can listen on the podcast, on iTunes, you can listen on Spotify. Then you watch us on YouTube and you're clicking like, subscribe on all that stuff. Those are our favorites. And then they're doing 3Chi all the while. Must be 21 or a purchase. If you're under 21, don't worry about it. But everyone else, those are our favorite listeners.
All right. So you ready to get into Falcon and the Winter Soldier? I think we've done all the housekeeping necessary, and we could finally talk about this show. Thank you for hanging in there with us, everyone, through the ad reads. So we opened with John Walker in his high school locker room this week. This is the new Captain America. We saw him unzipping the Captain America suit. His wife or his girlfriend, fiance, whoever she may be, walked in, and they reminisced on being in the locker room back in the day. He kind of looked at his locker. It still had the JW10 on it. And she gave him some words of encouragement. His friend then walked in, Hoskins, doing the same thing. Words of encouragement, said, this is the job now. You can't punch your way out of every situation. You're going to have to uphold yourself in a certain way, being Captain America. I thought John Walker had a great line when he said, everybody in the world expects me to be something, and I don't want to fail them. He actually came off likable, made me feel like a dickhole for everything we said last week. It's just like, damn, this is a good opening scene. And we get the Marvel intro then over a drum line, like over a school band playing. And I thought it was awesome. I love when they change up the Marvel intro even just a little bit. So this variation of it I thought was cool.
Yeah, so it starts in like the hockey locker room or whatever. And as many people were tweeting at us, this was actually happened to be the week that Mighty Ducks premiered on Disney Plus, and I think a lot of people were in that conundrum: do I go with Falcon Winter Soldier first, or do I, with Gordon Bomb in the fellas and the ladies too? And that was a tough one. I'm like, shit. Now they're throwing in like that's some Disney Plus subliminal advertising right there, because it's right there on the banner where you see it too, Mighty Ducks. So I like how they did that. I went in, I think, just like you, and you're wearing, for the people that can't see, for you sons of bitches that aren't watching on the YouTube right now, our boy Bob Fox is rocking the Captain America shirt right now because he wants it to be known he's an OG Cap guy. He's not this John Walker, JW, whatever you want to call himself. However, I will say this, and I'm with you. Like, I felt like kind of an asshole. And when he said, like this time last week, we were debriefing, the guys in Chile for a mission, and now we're here. So it seems like this is all kind of just happened really quickly for him. It kind of gives you that feeling. I don't know if you saw this. I blogged last week about there's this guy in Chile who apparently was stealing stuff from open car windows. An old man approached him and he punched the old man. And the locals in Chile took the guy, put him to a lamppost, and saran wrapped him to the post. Let me say this, Bob Fox. Listen, I know we've had our differences about Cap in the past and all that stuff because I'm an Iron Man guy, but at the end of the day, the man's a goddamn hero. He's an American hero. He's a hero of the world. He's of the universe, right? John Walker's my Cap if he was the one who said, let's saran wrap this dude to the bone. Because that was one of the greatest visuals I've ever seen. Saran wrap is the worst substance in the universe. I hate it when you just like if it's made to like make your sandwiches fresh or put stuff in the microwave. It never works like that. It folds onto itself and then it becomes stronger than our boy Bucky's arm, and it's like impossible to get out. So if that plan was hatched by John Walker, he is my new Captain America. If not, I'm rocking with the OG guy, our guy Steve Rogers himself. That would have been an awesome reveal. It would have been kind of a leap of faith for them to throw that in the show. The other thing I said, that pep rally, we're not political guys. We're in the politics. I'm actually kind of shocked we didn't have a Captain America in the last couple of years. I feel like they would have just wheeled one out. Had like it was very showy like that. I was shocked he wasn't. John Walker, good guy. Big chin, though. That chin is too big.
Big chin. I noticed that as well. Kind of like the crimson chin over here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was Quagmire almost. And that, like, I noticed it in when he was wearing the mask, and I was like, oh, that's a decent sized chin. And then this entire episode, I'm just like, that chin, there's the chin, there's the chin. I cannot look past the chin. John Walker, this is a problem. The only way I will ever say that John Walker is my Captain America is either A, if that Chili thing comes out where he's surrounded with the dude, or B, I need to know if he passed the grenade test. The legit grenade test that our guy Steve Rogers passed, because he says he jumped on grenades. That's what the suit on or the helmet. I need to know. I feel like any Captain America has to pass the grenade test before they become the real Captain America.
Walker runs out for his interview on Good Morning America. He's very humble during it. He comes off likable. It's all, how did a guy like me wind up here? And we get his backstory through that question, basically. They show on like the Good Morning America cutaway. He's got 3 medals of honor. He was in hostage rescue and counterterrorism. He tested off the charts. So it's like, damn, how can we root against this guy? Until he says, I didn't know Steve, but he really feels like a brother. And we cut to Bucky, and it's like, oh, that's how we don't like the guy. Because there's always that last line where it's like, oh, but he really was a brother to Bucky. So it's like, there we go. What do you think about that throw?
Yeah, that was a tough look. I mean, this is the thing. Like, I feel like most Americans at home watching that are like, oh, yeah, that's, that's awesome, man. We love Cap. We kind of know we're friends with Cap's old friends, too. Like, that's the thing as the viewers of this, outside the universe watching. It hurts. It also hurts that my guy Bucky doesn't have a couch. And I get it. You're in a tough spot right now. You probably don't have a bunch of money. You were living in Wakanda, like in a hut for a while and all this kind of stuff. you gotta get a couch, man, or at least like one of the folding chairs. Like, remember that meme that went viral where it's like, this is a guy's dream apartment and it's the chair and the TV. Like, dude, he has the TV. You gotta get the folding chair, man. You're just making us look bad. I understand, like, couches. You want to go couch shopping? It's like crazy how expensive couches. That's what kept Bob's Furniture alive for all these years. I have, and they're like, don't get me wrong, I have one right here. It's the most comfortable couch in the universe.
The couch is Bob's.
Is it Bob's? I mean,
oh yeah.
There was what was that thing that said like Bob's is worth like $2 billion? I'm like, that's the most preposterous thing I've ever heard. I'm like, but everyone I know gets their couches from Bob's, so maybe it's real. I don't know. I think he actually turned himself into a cartoon or a claymation guy so he could live forever. So there might be a chance. But my guy Buck, like, send us the address. We will send you a couch, or I mean, let's be honest, we're on the Bomb's basement here. We'll send you a little folding chair there.
I was going to say a futon. Promise a futon.
Futon at most. A folding chair with the 2 cup holders. So you throw a cup in one, you throw the remote in the other. And I mean, it's the least you could do for. And that's coming from Bob, by the way, not from me, because I will never forgive you. Not for what you did to Howard Stark, but what you did to Mrs. Stark, where you clogged her nose and you killed her. You killed her, Bucky. All right, I'm losing myself. I apologize. Again, it's not that expensive to get a goddamn chair, Buck. Come on, man.
I wonder if he sleeps with the arm on. I think he did last week when he woke up with the nightmare, but I feel like I wouldn't sleep with the arm on if I were him. I would kind of take it off, put it on a fucking rack, and then just kind of, I don't know, I'd be able to like nuzzle up a little better. You know, when you're trying to lay on your side and your arm's in the way, like it's the one pro for Bucky, maybe.
That's a cheat code of life. He gets to just like avoid that entire.
Put it under the pillow, or like he doesn't have to think about that. I mean, he was probably a good spooner. You know what I mean?
That's a big. I know. Fucking the waitress. She doesn't know how she hasn't made it the Shader now. She had just played her Battleship, right? She might have been able to live through that dream fantasy.
So Bucky ambushes Sam at this point. Sam is going off on a mission. He sees, posters of John Walker everywhere, tours. It's like, I don't know, he seems like a good guy. Bucky ambushes him, though, and he says, why did you give up the shield? You shouldn't have given up the shield. They get into this back and forth. Sam doesn't really want to deal with it right now because he's on his way to this mission. He says, you're not going to tell me about my rights with your overextended life. They get into it. They have the big 3 conversation, which was used in some of the TV spots, some of the trailers, where Falcon says, could be one of the big 3. Could be androids, wizards, or aliens. And this was the first scene where we see the chemistry, I think, between Sam and Bucky and how good it was going to be for the whole episode and how good it's going to be for the whole show. It's very funny. The Doctor Strange back and forth. And then Sam tells him, hey, Red Wing has tracked the Flag Smashers to this building outside of Munich. That's where I'm going now. And Bucky tags along. I loved the scene where they jump out of the plane because they're at 200 feet. Falcon jumps out after, they're stubborn and getting into arguments left and right, jumps out. And then Bucky's like, all right, where's the chute? Torres tells him we're 200 feet. It's way too low for a chute. He's like, all right, fuck it. I don't need it anywhere. And he just jumps, landing on his arm. But when he hits, you could feel the impact. You could feel the wind getting knocked out of him, the grape lady noise that he wanted to be making in that moment. And Sam says, I got that all on camera, right? And Red Wing comes right up over him. I thought that was hysterical.
Yeah, the chemistry between the two is really good. I think of Civil War when they're just getting absolutely just dusted by Spider-Man and kind of the funny, witty banter they have amongst it all as they're getting their asses kicked. The big 3 line, I geeked out over that because it's like, oh, you're acknowledging the universe and androids, aliens, and wizards. And I was hoping we get some sort of a Scarlet Witch reference since, I guess it's a witch more than a wizard. And this takes place after WandaVision, right? So I was hoping maybe we get like a little, sprinkling into that. Obviously didn't happen, but I do like how the world has changed so fucking much in this little fictional world, the MCU, the last 10 years, when basically Iron Man comes out and all the different bad guys that have risen through it. Bucky revealing himself as a straight up nerd. I read The Hobbit when it came out. What a flex you could throw on someone.
It's so funny the way he said it too. He's so serious in his face. I read The Hobbit when it came out in 1937.
Yeah. Before everyone was tonguing Tolkien's balls, I was reading his shit, fresh off the fucking typewriter or whatever the hell they used back then.
Great.
That was awesome. I also like the line of your overextended life. I feel like there's always a few lines you could bust your buddy's chops about, and you don't go too far. You don't be like that time you were a puppet for a communist regime or an evil regime and murdered people. You save that one for the really fucked up shit. But I like how and then I feel like they're gonna have the back and forth. I think the shield is gonna clearly be the point of contention between them all season long. Can we just admit that Sam talking about Red Wings just weird? It's just a weird thing, right?
he talks about him like he's a person who he trusts. He kind of talks about him like Han talks about the Falcon or something.
Yeah.
And Bucky doesn't trust him. I figure that's because he's 106 and he just doesn't trust technology at this point. But yeah, it's the way Sam talks about him. I mean, it's like it's a pet or something. Even when it gets crushed, which we'll get into in a second, Bucky has to say to him, like, "I'm sorry about Red Wing." He's like, "No, you weren't."
that was the thing that brought back. Oh, that's so weird. And Red Wing in the books, I guess, was an actual Falcon. And again, like the Millennium Falcons is my second favorite character of Star Wars, third favorite character, and it has that like gravitas towards it. But the 3 seconds we saw Red Wing in the first episode, I just felt weird towards it the entire time. It's just you kind of have your like if you're growing up, you had a kid who like was a certain attached to like it's almost like his blanket, right? They think it's the real thing. It's like, dude, that's not a real thing. But again, like if Bucky was a listener, he'd be like, I listen to you guys on YouTube. I watch you guys. It's like, no. That's a podcast. Two different things. Like everything Red Wing, he doesn't know technology. So I do have to remember that it's 100+ man we're talking to here. When he jumped out of the plane and that landing, like you said, like you just felt it in like your soul. I got up and I started going ECW. Like Bucky, he doesn't have, the Cap, courage maybe as much as Cap, or obviously the signature with the shield or anything like that. He just goes and he kicks his own ass and can get up from it. He's basically the Mick Foley of the MCU. That's what I'm calling him for now. Like I appreciate it too. Like if we have a little Mick Foley, Cactus Jack, or Terry Funk kind of dynamic, Cactus Jack, Terry Funk dynamic between these two, I could get down with that kind of a thing there.
They have my favorite exchange of the entire episode in the warehouse coming up next, where they're sneaking around and Sam goes, "You spend a little time in Wakanda and you come out the White Panther." And he says, "It's actually the White Wolf." And he's like, "What?" But it was just such a MCU comedy line. They really nail like the tone of the MCU comedy in this show. I thought that was great. Red Wing sees somebody, so they go to track him down. Red Wing winds up seeing a ton of people. Then they get into it about even that. They're like, "I only see 4 of them." And he shows them on his wrist. He's like, "Well, Red Wing sees 8 of them." And there's a hostage in there as well. So Bucky boards one of these. He sees Erin Kellyman from Solo: A Star Wars Story, who we shouted out last week. And she smiles at him. He thinks that she's the hostage at first because she's kind of a little girl. She looks like a little woman. And she fucking punches him into the truck behind them. He gets pulled up by 2 other flag smashers and then starts getting fucked up on top of this truck. Red Wing comes in to save him. Erin Kellyman breaks that thing over her knee like it's a baseball bat immediately. Falcon comes in for the save. Then he kind of gets messed up too. Captain America now, John Walker, and his boy Hoskins drop out of a helicopter. They try to save him. This was an amazing movie-like action sequence. If the opening scene of last week's episode cost them, $20 million to shoot, maybe more, that's probably what this one was for this week. It was just the 2 18-wheelers side by side, awesome fights going on with super soldiers.
Let me just say, I did not get dizzy during this scene today, so it was clearly a one-time thing last week. I was able to take it all in very nicely. I put it on the new TV, and I was like, all right, like if this is going to be a thing, let me just acknowledge my washed-upness is going to just affect me for the rest of my life, because Marvel's only going to dial it up, right? From here on out, it's not going to get ratcheted down. I was very happy. My wife said that it was almost looked like an episode of MTV The Challenge, like a challenge where they have to go on top of like 2 18-wheelers, and I think they actually might have done that exact fucking thing for like last year for like immunity for one of the things. So I definitely saw that. It was very cool. It was like watching the 1999 home run derby where everyone was juiced out of their mind and hitting bombs 800 feet over the green monster. I love that side of the thing of where, it's clearly a bunch of super soldiers just absolutely, murking each other. The thing that back in the warehouse when Bucky says, "I see a clear path, we take it." That was straight out of Jon Snow's fucking strategy guide. That was page 1 of Jon Snow. And then he would just get everybody he knows killed and murdered in the most gruesome fashions possible. So that's kind of who I'm like, nothing, Bucky. What's his last name?
Barnes.
Bucky Barnes, yeah. Well, you know nothing, Bucky Barnes. That's what I'm going to say to you. And the stealing, when they said stealing vaccines, I straight up got triggered. I was like, fuck this. I don't need to hear this. Like, I am escaping reality when I head into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I do not need to hear the V word going on. That pissed me off. And then since we're living in 2021, let's start this think piece off. Is Bucky sexist for thinking the girl was a hostage? I say we cancel Bucky. He should be canceled. No, again, 100+-year-old man can't cancel 100+.
Yeah.
He's older than John Wayne, who was canceled. Let's not forget, by the way. No,
surprised
but
he didn't call her darling. Oh, sweet darling.
hey,
Are you in trouble here?
get me a whiskey, you. But it is one of those things. Like she even I think plays it off too. Like she makes you want to think that she's the hostage. This was the other thing, and I might have missed it. The truck following them just didn't give a fuck that a dude just broke into their like. It seemed a little weird, right? That
Guess
entire
not.
scene.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that was all about. Like you said, Cap coming on, getting in. Captain America, just fucking Cap popping caps. Captain America shooting a gun was weird. That was weird as fuck for me. Because like his whole thing is he fights, but he fights with a shield. So it's almost like a pass. He's defending. He's not actually like on the attack, it seems. And see Captain America shoot a gun, that kind of fucked me up. And I it was one of those things. It was just a subconscious thing. And when I saw it, I was kind of like, I was damn near offended by it, Rob. I'm not gonna lie. It's
It
Batman
felt like
kill
they
someone.
made a moment of it. Like when he actually took the gun out and started firing, it almost took like a beat to let that sit and let that breathe, I guess. Bucky got trapped near the bottom of the 18-wheeler at one point through his arm. It like cut through, almost Batman-like when he would use the spikes on the end of his arm to cut through cars. Bucky uses his arm to do this, and it's getting stomped on by one of the biggest flag smashers. Falcon eventually swoops in. He saves him. They go under the 18-wheeler and kind of leave Captain America and Hoskins to deal with these guys themselves. They're like, fuck that. These guys are all super soldiers, so screw it. And they also get their ass kicked on top of the truck. Hoskins gets kicked off, and Cap throws his shield so he could slide on top of it. Awesome scene, awesome save by John Walker there. And then he gets a little too cocky. He's like, you're going to regret that, he says to Erin Kellyman. And she fucks him up, throws him right off the bus. He really has nothing to offer in return for it. He gets smashed on top of someone's windshield. And crazy sequence. Let me say this. Erin Kellyman isn't the only girl that kicks ass, though. If you want to check out another girl that kicks ass, go check out One Championship, which is a new sponsor of the podcast. They've got a 16-year-old MMA fighter who just made her debut, Victoria Lee, and she is an absolute stone cold badass. And now One Championship, the home of martial arts, is coming to prime time in the U.S. It's One Championship's biggest month in history with 4 weeks of blockbuster events in April, and immediately following AEW Dynamite on every Wednesday night, you're not going to want to miss one on TNT. It's 10 p.m. Eastern and Pacific time, and you can witness nonstop action in MMA, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. It's all in a cage. It's all martial arts spectacle like you've never seen before. They kick off this Wednesday, April 7th, with one on TNT 1. So after winning the grueling Flyweight Championship World Prix, 12-time UFC World Champion, and My Mom's Basement guest, Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, seeks to cement his legacy as the greatest mixed martial artist of all time. In order to achieve GOAT status, though, DJ is going to have to dethrone 6-time one flyweight champion Adriano Morales, who promises to be the first man to finish Mighty Mouse. Plus, you've got 4-time UFC and Bellator world champion Eddie the Underground King Alvarez. He's out to prove he belongs among the elite in the promotion after a challenging start, and standing in his way is the dangerous number 2 lightweight contender Yuri Lepikius. Catch the lead card starting on 8:30 p.m. on Bleacher Report. And remember, the best fights are always on Wednesday nights. Kicks off this Wednesday night, April 7th on TNT. I can't wait for that, Clem. One Championship. People don't realize how huge this is, but mixed martial arts in Asia are pretty much as big as they are over here. There's, 1 billion people over there. One operates a lot out of Singapore. It's where Ben Askren came from. That's where a lot of people knew him from making his name. They actually did a trade. UFC had won Ben Askren for Mighty Mouse. That's how that all came about. Shit. But I'm very thankful to have them on board as a sponsor of this show because it couldn't fit anymore. I'm going to be watching that on Wednesday for sure.
I love that too. Wednesday night seems like a night that always has room for like some sort of content and something. So they probably saw that and were like, boom, we're going to own Wednesdays. And you said 16-year-old. RDT tweeted out or a blog about there was a 17-year-old who made this like crazy like web gem. And I was like, oh my God, what was I doing at the age of 17? And this guy is doing, in Major League Camp, making these plays. 16-year-old fighting in an MMA card. I remember being 16-year-old and seeing like girls fight each other at in the lunchroom and being terrified of them. I'm gonna be absolutely terrified of this. Oh my goodness.
She's a badass too. She just made her debut this year. She's 1-0, and I think she's got a very promising future. And you're gonna have to check out One Championship to follow her career.
This is your way to kind of get in on the bottom of her. You get your NFTs of her, and you're gonna be a billionaire down there. I mean, I can't make any promises here, but hey, let's do this together.
Bucky and Falcon are walking along the road now. I don't know why Falcon couldn't have just used his wings. They were like, "You're 20 miles away from the airport. You need a ride." I was like,
Thank you.
"Falcon's got fucking wings." So that was a weird, yeah, that was just kind of confusing. But Walker and Hoskins roll up on him in an army truck. Reminded me of the trucks that they were driving in the first Captain America, like very much the army setup. I don't know if they were aiming for that or not, but it just reminded me of that. And Walker says, "I've jumped on 4 grenades, like you said." When they eventually get in, he says, "Yes, I jumped on 4 grenades. It's a trick my helmet does or something." They go back and forth. Eventually, he reveals that he tracked them to Munich through Falcon's somehow backpack. It was like tracked through the government. And he's like, "I am the government, Dickhole move. The way that he delivered that line, I was just like, this fucking guy. And then Bucky steps out. The second Hoskins calls himself Battlestar. I guess that's his code name, his superhero name that came up with. And as soon as Bucky hears that, he's like, "Stop the car. I'm done." He gets out. Walker is still saying to these guys, he's like, "I promise, I'm not trying to be Steve Rogers. I know that you guys were friends with him. I appreciate that. I'm just trying to be the best Captain America I could be." I'm like, all right, he's fucking got a point. And then he says, "But I need Cap's wingmen by my side." And I'm like, nope, there you go. And Falcon says, there's always that final line. He just ruins it with the final line. And it's like, bro, they don't want to be called wingmen. They don't want to be your sidekicks right now. You just got handed this promotion after they were alongside Cap through it all.
Yeah, it was a tough look. The Battlestar name, it was like Taserface. I was like, oh no, that's not a good one. And I clearly Bucky knows what's going on with what they're trying to do. He kind of sees through it, and they just keep talking until they end up just completely blowing it for themselves. And I mean, we know this with on the blog. And granted, we're not going crazy with the name, but you're Robbie Fox. I'm Clem, right? If you have a bad name for the blog name, people aren't going to care about you immediately right off the bat. So you have to be smart there. Battlestar, you have to do better. You can't be like, "Hey, I need some of Cap's faithful assistants," and something like that. Just an awful move. So again, we're on the outside looking in. It's kind of funny to see the old crew meeting the new crew, and there's always that, I feel like in the Sandlot, right? If Benny the Jet had left, a couple of the guys left, and then you try to get another Sandlot crew, there's always going to be that tough, mingling between the two different sides. And I think we're all supposed to be very much pro Bucky, pro Falcon. I mean, it's the fucking name of the show, which, by the way, I hate to go on a detour here. Disney Plus, we got to do a better job naming these shows, because I just realized WandaVision, Falcon the Winter Soldier,
Loki.
We're just naming it after characters. She-Hulk. Yeah, I understand. We're just trying to get some things established. It's a new show. Can we just one of our first 10 shows just not name literally after a character? That's all I'm going to ask.
The movie's kind of art too, to be fair. They'll add a little tagline afterwards, maybe. But I mean, what would they call this if not fucking? We don't like the new Captain America show.
Yeah. Fuck the new Captain America. He's fucking Hydra. New Captain America's Hydra. That's what it should be called.
I think there is some shades of gray with him, though. I think that, I don't know where we're going to land with him by the end of this show. The Flag Smashers we now cut to being welcomed in some supporter's home. He's like, "I've made you guys, me and my wife have made you guys chicken livers, the best," which I was like, Jesus Christ, buddy. I could have made him something better. He says, "Anything I could do for the cause, you tell me." If I was part of that, I'd be like, "You can get me and my wife some fucking McDonald's now, because I'm not eating your chicken livers." But I don't know, maybe they're super soldiers. That seems like the kind of thing you would feed to a dog if you want to bulk them up or something. Maybe that's what super soldiers eat. They call Erin Kellyman Robin Hood. I think that's going to be important, or maybe what they call her. He's like, "They're calling you Robin Hood now," maybe because she's stealing from the rich, giving to the poor in their eyes. And then she receives a text. It says something along the lines of, "You took what was mine, and now I'm going to kill you for it." Let's take predictions right here. Who is this text sent from? I'm saying it was your boy on the sus list, Mr. Government Museum Guy.
Ooh, okay. All right.
And maybe he's going to send John Walker to get it back, and John Walker's going to have to do some shady shit, or he's going to have to go over his own lines to get it back. That's my prediction.
My prediction, and this one's going deep here. I'm trying to figure out which one of these motherfuckers are the most sus. I'm going to go John Walker's girlfriend. She is going to end up. You didn't see that one coming, did you?
I didn't.
It's going to all come circling back, and we're going to do all the breadcrumbs. We're going to pick apart all the theories, and it'll all come back to her at the end, because I don't think we've seen the end of her. And we're going to see something with her phone or some kind of tricky stuff going on with that. So that's my complete dumb guess in the dark.
If that hits, that's plus 750 on the Barstool Sportsbook. That is a solid future you're putting in right there.
I never like when I'm looking at futures, and I love futures. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way. I love futures, and I basically just take out the first 10, just wipe that away. Like I don't have time for like minus or like plus 200s, and I just go straight Super Bowl. And it's basically usually wherever the Colts end up is where I usually start putting my money. Is like the Colts are like plus 12 to plus 18. So yeah, I'm going down on the bar. So you have to scroll twice to find her on that. I don't even know her name. I don't even know what her name is. So
Me neither.
We may never see her again in this show, but as of now, she's the one who sent that text in my mind.
I love it. So we cut back to Bucky and Sam. They're back on the plane. Oh,
let me just say this. All right. Let me say this the right way. I don't want to get don't want to get in trouble, any of this kind of stuff. 2 episodes so far of the Flag Smashers.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that I saw out of the Flag Smashers today that makes me like them any less. If anything, it makes me like them a lot more. Now, listen, you said they brought them in and they made chicken livers and what kind of meat. I took it as these people are very poor and they don't have like a lot of stuff, but like that's probably like a cheap meal out there in like Latvia or wherever the fuck they were. And McDonald's would have went a long way. They don't have the money for McDonald's, but they have the chickens they raise on their farms. They cut the livers out themselves. And like just seeing it in Tupperware, like that was such a homey move. I just absolutely loved it. The beds, they had these like, it's like my guest room bed, right? It's like the old sheets I had when I was in college are on that bed. And the line that they have, one world, one people. I mean, are we really going to say the Flag Smashers are bad? They said one world, one people. That is kumbaya, man. Everyone together. One. This is the world.
That's
one
John Lennon shit. Imagine there's no countries.
Yeah, exactly. That's all those celebrities. Fucking Gal Gadot might be a Flag Smasher for all we know. And this is what they said in the first episode. I wrote down the exact quote. Flag Smashers want a world without borders. I mean, come on here, Rob.
We praise Doctors Without Borders, don't we?
Exactly. I am going all in on the Flag Smashers. And again, this might look really bad in episode 6. I'm Flag Smasher. I'm going to look up what I have to do to become a Flag Smasher. It just sounds so fucking cool. And whatever kind of like initiations they have to do, the initiation fee's probably not cheap, right? Because it looks like they need the money and all that kind of stuff. But that guy, man, I don't know. There's something about that. One world, one people. I made these chicken livers. My poor shitty wife who probably doesn't have any shoes on because they can't afford. Or they probably
have to be shitty. You don't have to call the wife shitty.
I mean, like she has a shitty life. Like she has like to wear like potato sacks on her feet and stuff like that. I'm saying it's just she has it tough, and she's like, I can't believe I married this goon here, and he has these radicalized militants coming into our house to feed them our chicken livers that we were supposed to eat this week. So I don't know.
We lose them every week. We lose them to a new villain that just persuades them to join the group. This is how the villain groups form. They persuade guys like Clem with their no borders things. But I do think Marvel's going to add in, like I said with John Walker, like shades of gray with the Flag Smashers and show that, you know, maybe they do have a perspective. Maybe they do have something that they think is right that they're accomplishing or they're taking forward, they're taking out.
Let me just say, I haven't seen anything bad from them yet. So I think we're looking at all white in the Flag Smashers. There's been no dark side of them. It's been nothing but good things. They're getting attacked by these random super soldiers who are on steroids. If I've learned anything from baseball, it's that steroids are the pure evil of the world. Again, Tupperware is, this is what it comes down to. Tupperware is like just the everyday man's item. Like you're not going out, you're not getting fancy lunches every day. You're bringing your food from home and like, I don't know, just something relatable with that. So shout out to Flag Smashers for being relatable as shit.
I'm not going to shout out the Flag Smashers. We cut back to Bucky and Sam on the plane, and Bucky's like, we should just fucking take that shield ourselves. Fuck this fucking John Walker guy. And Sam reminds him the last time we took that shield, Sharon was labeled a fugitive of the state or something, which we brought up Sharon. We know she's going to be in this show. That was the first little tease of it, I think. And he says, you know, not a good idea. We can't fucking do that. Now Sam says, we just got our ass handed to us by a couple of super soldiers and we got nothing. Where are we supposed to go from here? And Bucky says, well, there's someone you should meet. We cut to Baltimore now. We saw the plane, made a quick left, made a quick right, whatever. It made a turn. And we get this conversation, which you referenced earlier, between Falcon and this little kid on the side of the street, where he's like, there he is, the Black Falcon. He's like, no, just the Falcon kid. He's like, no, my dad said you're the Black Falcon. He said, is it because I'm a black guy? He said, yeah. He said, well, then are you a black kid? And then he's like, got him. The kid goes, whatever, dude, which I thought was so funny, the way the kid was like shooing him off. But then they walk up to this house and Bucky knocks and he's like, hey, we're here to see Isaiah. kid refuses to let him in. They got the metal door in front of it, which is always scary. It reminds me of like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when Brad Pitt was walking up to that house in the Manson Ranch. And he says, tell him I'm the guy from the bar in Goyang. He'll know what that means. The kid's like, all right. Walks back. He says, it's your lucky day. Tells Falcon in this moment, Bucky, right before they walk in, he's like, we had a skirmish during the Korean War, which I love that he's old enough to have those moments. He's still a young guy, but I just thought that was cool. And we meet Isaiah now, Isaiah Bradley. He has a great opening line. I actually thought it was one of the funniest lines of the episode when he says, we met during the Korean War in a bar in Goyang. And he says, if by meet you mean I kicked your ass, then yeah, we met. They talk a little bit, and he says, there's more of you and me out there. He throws a box through a wall, and Isaiah's like, I went to jail for 30 years. You don't talk to me about you and me. Kicks him out of the house. He goes crazy. And Falcon's like, what the fuck was that? Crazy encounter, but we'll get to it later. Isaiah Bradley, one of the coolest characters Marvel has to offer.
Yeah, when they showed like the cutaway and you see this dude is just jacked out of his mind casually, I was like, holy shit. Like you said, the subtle remark about Civil War to start with, like you said, with the shields getting taken, and then the casual Korean War reference was absolutely awesome. And I'm guessing here is that Isaiah Bradley, I know in the books, he is known as Captain America. So I feel like in the time Steve Rogers was gone, they probably had a couple of guys that they were throwing around the name of Captain America, or maybe, they had the super soldiers out there. So
I've got the backstory. You've got a question about it. I'll give you the backstory.
Great. So, again, the shit he went through with 30 years, right? Arrested in jail and all that kind of stuff. I feel like we're going to definitely touch on that side of things, which, I mean, I'm sure there's people who are going to be like upset at it getting into the MCU. I also feel like it makes it feel more realistic. Let's be honest. Right. So, I don't know how it'll go. 4 more episodes left. Right. I feel like it'll be a pretty heavy sticking point. And part of the reason maybe the shield went back to begin with Falcon.
So they get into a heated back and forth outside the house now. They're arguing because Sam is basically like, there's been a black super soldier here for how many years and you haven't told anybody? Did Steve know? Why didn't you tell me? Cops roll up on him in this moment and they're like, hey, is everything okay here? You guys yelling? What's the deal? They ask for ID. Sam's like, what the fuck? Like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Like, you're asking for my ID, which if anyone has a right to be like, do you know who I am? It's the fucking Avengers of all people. And one of the cops realizes, he's like, they're the fucking Avengers. And they are immediately treated so differently from that moment on. You could see the look of disgust on Sam's face from that. Like when he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't recognize you without the goggles. Like, you're so awesome. He's just like, I don't want to fucking deal with this. They say, wait right here. And then they come back and they say, Mr. Barnes, there's actually a warrant out for your arrest. Sam tries to tell him he's been pardoned for all that. And they're like, no, recently you missed your court mandated therapy. That's like violating parole, basically. And they take him to prison or wherever. They put him in the car and take him away. We see then at the prison or wherever they have taken him to, his therapist shows up and Sam's like, thank you so much for getting him out of this. I'm really sorry about that. And she says, oh, I didn't get him out. And Cap walks in like such a douchebag, like he's got a posse, he's got the news cameras, and he's like, oh, he won't be needing therapy anymore. I'm going to take him under my wing. We got, big business to think up. And he says, talk to us outside. Bucky comes out, they go into therapy, and we get our second session with Marvel's Dr. Melfi.
When Bucky goes under arrest, I don't know how they could have done it. If I could have just saw him in that jail and just saw Avon or Weebay or someone from The Wire just in the jail somewhere, it would have just made my entire day. But I think we all had that chill go down our spine when fucking dickhead Big Chin Cap comes, Captain Quagmire. I'm calling Captain Quagmire from now on. Captain Quagmire comes going in, feeling all, and like
giggity.
It's bad. Yeah. Giggity his ass right into the scene. And there's just nothing worse than when someone you hate helps you out. And whether it's someone that they know you hate, like they know you hate them, or if they don't know, that almost makes it worse. It's just like your pride is just on the ground. I felt so bad for the guys in that moment right there. It was just terrible.
So the therapist says now, immediate session, both of you, this second. I'm demanding it. She takes them in for the session. She makes them face each other. She says, why don't you say what you don't like about each other? And Bucky, I felt like had sort of a decent gripe because Sam was like, this has nothing to do with you. I don't know why you're so angry about me giving up the shield. It's not like Steve gave you the shield or anything. It's like very much has to do with me. And Bucky says, no, it does have to do with me because Sam gave you that shield because he trusted you and he trusted me. So what if he was wrong about you? Does that mean he was wrong about me? And if he was wrong about Bucky, then it's, a killer that shouldn't be on the loose. He's got his own shit to worry about. Am I going to be reprogrammed? And Sam just tells him, listen, you're never going to understand this, and maybe Steve won't either, but I did, in my mind, what was the right thing. We have two good arguments on each side. They won't come together, though. They're both stubborn. Neither one sees each other's point, and they agree. All right, let's just go on this mission. Let's get the Flag Smashers, and we will never see each other ever again at the end of this. Gives you another hint of what's to come in the future, because I think we all know this show is going to be working towards them becoming good friends and becoming close and realizing we don't want to separate after this mission. We want to keep working together.
We still have a whole lot of buddy cop tropes that we have to hit along the way, right? And there's the part where one of them does walk away from the other, does the thing he promised he would never do, and it's going to cause a real rift or whatever. But this is kind of the seeds being planted. I love the line about the miracle. Like, what would you say is like a miracle? I was like, what would be a miracle for like Robbie? I'd be like, he meets Luke Skywalker, Conor McGregor, and Dana White. You've already gotten your three fucking miracles, Bob Fox. You're living a goddamn miracle life right now, you son of a bitch.
I really am. I can't complain.
Shout out Dave Portnoy. We always have to say thank you to Dave Portnoy for anything we've ever gotten in life. So I sincerely mean it. Thank you, Dave Portnoy, for giving us these dream jobs. But yeah, I feel like in the end, I liked how they twisted that too, because I never thought of it from Bucky's angle too, and it does make perfect sense. And I think this series we're gonna have whoever is number one on the Hydra, the true Hydra amongst these people, are gonna try to weaponize the Winter Soldier again with that little book. We saw those little words or whatever that was kind of his commands. I think we're gonna have someone who has that book. It might be Yori for all we know. I'm really pissing off Bob tonight with some of my
fucking no Yori slander. No Yori. I thought we were free of Yori slander. He wasn't even on this episode. I was like, there's no way Clem works in a chirp at Yori, and there he fucking goes.
All right, and then my other line was or my other note, the staring contest. Let's have a staring contest for the YouTube and only people watching on YouTube.
All right, ready? Yeah.
Ready, set, go. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I don't know if I blinked, but I don't think I did. We'll watch it, obviously.
My eyes are such
my eyes are watering immediately.
Oh my god. I feel so old. I used to be the staring king. I've never lost a staring contest.
You had that Bucky Barnes stare?
Yeah. And now I wear glasses because I'm old. This is like a 3-year-old thing here. I just got glasses in the last 3 years, and now I can't do staring contests. I'm just fucking crumbling apart. I am Cap sitting on that lake right now. I'm just gonna give AJ my shield, give Sienna my blessings, and then just fucking die because I can't even not even win a staring contest. I can't compete in a staring contest. And that's actually my question. What's the best way to get ready for a staring contest? I used to think you just close your eyes as long as possible and then open them, or do you kind of just like slowly get your eyes
relax?
trained?
I think you try to just relax as much as possible. The idea, the visual of you sitting on that bench like an old man Cap is hysterical. Me walking over to you like, hey Clem, the Mets got a day game on today. You want to watch it? You're like, nope, I don't think I will.
I'm not gonna I can't even make it away to the day games. Like I'll be asleep by 12:30 before they're even come on for the pregame. That's the premium content you get on YouTube right there.
I'm sure there's riveting audio for the people on Apple and Spotify. Us doing a staring contest. Sam and Bucky go outside to talk to John and Hoskins. They basically say, listen, I don't think we should work together. It's not a good idea. We don't get along. We're two separate forces. You got to follow certain protocols that we don't. And John Walker says, well, then stay the hell out of my way. And you're like, oh, this motherfucker, you telling us to stay out of your fucking way. You stay out of fucking our way. We do the fucking. And Bucky and Zemo then start talking. They say, all right, we got to go see Zemo. And I loved the reveal of Zemo with the classical music, the cutaway, him in prison, all that shit was perfect because he knows about the super soldiers. And that was the end of the episode.
It was awesome. The way they said the guy gonna go see Zemo. Like I like when you say the name in the reveal instead of having them just show up or whatever. And it was just like so casual. You know what I mean? It was like gonna go see Zemo. That was great. I almost feel like the new Cap. It's like when he said like stay out of my way. It needed like the 80s guitar of like like the villain at a ski resort is what he played in my mind. I don't know if we got to this one. The Smashers, when they were leaving on the plane, the Flag Smashers.
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Yeah,
they're basically like, all right, we got to get in the plane, take off, and these people have found us. You see the cars coming down the road, and the one dude's like, I got it, don't worry, I'll do anything. And then he says the line too, like, one world, one people, throws the mask on, goes out there, knocks a pole down, and then runs toward them and gets absolutely just filled with bullet holes. Dude, you could have just knocked the pole down, turned around, and ran on the plane. Am I the only one who thinks he's crazy?
Could have ran away even. Like, I guess he was trying to make a distraction. It seemed like the pole was a good distraction. It was like, whoa, sparks are flying everywhere. They probably can't even fucking see if the plane's taking off from here. If they got, the astigmatism eyes that you and me have from that staring contest, they probably were blinking their asses off. But yeah, that was, he wanted to eat a bullet for the cause, I guess. One world, one peace.
He probably, that's actually a good point. Like, probably like the day he signed up, he's like, no, I'll die for you guys. Like, yeah, man, that's cool. Like, we appreciate it. Day 3.
And especially did it like for Robin Hood, who we don't know if she's the leader, but she's like, a key member. People are talking about this woman. Like, he did it for her. It was like an act of courage out of, desperation, basically. So, yeah.
This fucking guy is such a drama queen. Everything's a soul for a soul with him. It's like, we need you alive. We need as many bodies as you can get. We need to spread our message. We need to have people who are ready to fight. We don't need people dying. But you know what? He just wanted to fuck. That's basically what I do in Call of Duty. We play together. I go for the flag. I regenerate. I go for the flag again. You can, and sooner or later, their defenses are just broken by me just keep going for the flag. And I get the little checkpoints, and that's how you need to have people like this guy. So I just wanted to shout him out, even though it was the dumbest strategy I've ever
shout
seen.
Out every flag smasher. The fucking I want to shout out flag smasher number 3 on set. He was a great role. All right, Clem, you fucking flag smasher ways.
And we also hear was this the first time we hear the power broker is involved in this?
I think so. Yeah.
They say the power broker. If the power broker is going after the flag smashers, doesn't that make the flag smashers good guys? The power broker's a bad guy?
It's who they're calling it. They're saying he's the bad guy. It's all a perspective from a certain point of view.
You're a power broker guy. You're a fan of the power broker. All right.
No, but like if you people from Deadspin think we're the bad guys. We're not the bad guys. We're the good guys.
Are we the good guys? Shit, I didn't know this. No,
You got a sus list and an AKA a Hydra list for us?
I do. Our Hydra list for week 2 here. I'll tell you, Rob Fox, you're getting close to there. If you're so much against the flag smashers, I'm starting to think you're fucking part of the problem.
We need to get you a flag smasher shirt. I'm not gonna get you a flag smasher's mask. That's a bit much. That's a bit scary. But the shirt we need to get you.
Oh Jesus! I'm gonna get thrown on an FBI watch list when they see me. Number 3 on the watch list, the Hydra watch list. Didn't see this person this week, which only makes me think this person's gonna be a problem down the road. It's Yori, clearly just cooking something up in his little Brooklyn basement. Or it's actually a nice apartment, a little too nice. Being like, how do you make that kind of money at the man's age? You know how much an apartment like that costs in Brooklyn, Bob? You live in the city, you know what it's like.
It costs a lot of money. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he's got that Friends deal. Didn't they say in Friends they had the fucking thing where it's we paid our grandmother's rent? Yeah, maybe Yori's got that. He's been living in Brooklyn his whole life.
All right, if that's what you want to believe, sure, too. So Yori's 3. Number 2. I mean, the guy should be number 1. Let's be honest. It's John Walker, but he's just too fucking nice. And he has enough of that dickhead hardo and the chin, and there's just a lot not to like about him. And he just happened over the flag smashers where they said they tracked Red Wing. That's all nice and good. I think that's bullshit because I bet they're going to show up again and Red Wing will have been smashed, so they won't be able to use that excuse, and that's where we're going to catch him in his lie.
That's a good call. That's a great prediction. The Red Wing one. I like that. Yeah.
Number 1, I already kind of gave it away on this. John Walker's girlfriend. I don't know why. There was just something about her I did not trust. I'll be honest. At first, I had the psychiatrist number 1. I have to get off of this crazy, the most likely person is going to be the most sus person. So I'm throwing his girlfriend in because it was enough of a character that you'd remember her, but not enough that you're going to constantly be thinking about her. And the thing that's going to ruin it for everyone is in episode 5 or 6, they're going to do a previously on, and they're going to show her walking in the beginning of this episode and be like, oh, whatever happened to her? Boom. Hydra.
I like that you go for the predictions that are the furthest out there. We might have to get our friend Brendan Clancy on the
Yes.
show soon to get his predictions and theories and stuff, because he's another one of those guys that will give you everything. He'll throw everything at a wall just in case anything sticks. And he has great predictions and takes because of that. So let's get into listener questions. The first of which comes from Robbie Poirier, a fellow Robbie. Shout out you, Robbie. He says, what part do you think Zemo has to play in all of this? I thought that was a good question because I don't know if he's going to be a villain right off the bat, right? It looks like we're going to need his help. So we're maybe going to be stringing him along. Maybe you referenced the Lethal Weapon before. Could you imagine he's like the Joe Pesci in this Lethal Weapon 2 between these guys? I think that would be kind of funny. I think by the end of it, he will somehow betray these guys and get away, and it could set him up as the future, as a villain in the future of the MCU. Almost a Lando Calrissian betrayal, almost a DJ from Star Wars betrayal, something like that.
I like that. That's kind of where I was going to go to. He helps out, but then he ends up getting away. Whether or not, a lot of times when these villains come in to help, it's because something that they love is at stake and they have to help out. But then at the end, so I do feel like he's going to get away and be a big part of this Falcon Winter Soldier universe kind of subsection, right? It's like the comic series. He'll be a big part of there. But I don't know. Like I said it with Scarlet, with WandaVision a lot. I love the idea of Scarlet Witch becoming bad. I love the idea of Baron Zemo helping the good guys out. I kind of like the idea where everything is kind of fluid, and when there's legitimate heel and face turns, I love that even more. Like if Scarlet Witch did go dark and becomes like the main villain of Doctor Strange, I would absolutely adore that. So I hope that's the case as well.
One of my favorite parts about X2 is the fact that Magneto has to go and help the X-Men, and they're working together, Magneto and Mystique, and like it just makes that dynamic so much cooler. It's like, oh my god, you think about the X-Men cartoon, it's like that would be an episode. You'd be like, that was the coolest episode.
That was always my favorite part about Magneto, is how him and Charles Xavier started together on the same side, and that they split, and the way they split, it's like you'd be like, Magneto's a fucking monster, but I kind of understand where he's coming from, and if I was a mutant, or if I had seen the shit he saw in the Holocaust, like I could definitely see where he's coming from. So that bring back X-Men Feige. You owe us for that Wanda. You owe us for Paul Bettany's sins. That's on you, Feige. You hired the man.
Our next question comes from alternate dimension Nathan Hurst. It's not the artist Nathan Hurst who does our designs and our logos, but it's the alternate dimension one.
This is Earth 652, Nathan Hurst. It's the multi-Hurst. This is the multi-Hurst.
The multi-Hurst Nathan Hurst, it is. He says, can you explain exactly who Isaiah Bradley is? And I can do that right here. I looked up his backstory. I've gathered some notes. Isaiah Bradley was known as the Black Captain America in the comic books. After Dr. Erskine, who helped Captain America with the super soldier serum and everything, died, the U.S. Army wanted to continue producing super soldiers like Steve Rogers, but they had none of the resources or secrets to do so. So they took 300 African American soldiers and they used them as guinea pigs. They started testing on all of them. They sent out letters to all of their families saying they had died in combat. And Isaiah Bradley's wife did not believe this. She kept digging throughout all the years. Bradley was eventually one of 3 survivors. Everyone else died. The 3 of them got super soldier serum. And then on a mission, 2 of them died. He was then the only survivor. On his last assignment, which was basically a suicide mission to a Nazi death camp to kill the Nazi doctor who came up with the Nazi version of the super soldier serum, he stole the Captain America suit and shield and went on that mission as Captain America. It was a successful mission, but he got captured. He was then rescued by German freedom fighters. And by the time he made it back to the United States of America, they sentenced him to life in prison for stealing the Captain America suit and shield, even though at this time, Steve Rogers wasn't around. He's frozen in the ice and everything. 30 years later, or in the comics, I believe it was 17 years later, Eisenhower let him out. He pardoned him. He let him out on the day that Kennedy was inaugurated. And as long as he swore to secrecy, let him be. Kind of a crazy story, a very, very cool backstory, I thought. Very cool that it was kept a secret in the comics the whole time. So it makes sense for it to be kept a secret in the MCU the whole time. And then his grandson, who let them in, is also a factor. In the comics, he's known as Patriot. He could be a step to building what I believe is the Young Avengers. I believe they are building the Young Avengers. It's not my own theory. I think a lot of people are onto this. We could get Wiccan, Speed, Cassie Lang, Kate Bishop, who's going to be in the new Hawkeye show, Miss Marvel even, and then I think maybe the kid from Iron Man 3 could take up the mantle of Iron Lad. He was a part of the Young Avengers in the comics, and possibly even Miles Morales. I just watched Spider-Man Homecoming over again, and we've got Miles' uncle in Donald Glover in that movie, and he even references having a nephew. And you know Marvel, those teases aren't just Easter eggs for the fans. Those are things that they're going to look back on and bring up back down the line. So the Bradleys are very, very vital, I think, and will be vital to the MCU going forward.
There's some plants that need to be fucked by Marvel, and Miles Morales would be a hell of a plan as well. Is Iron Lad, is he like British Iron Man or something? Like, what's that?
I think he's just a young Iron Man. He's a young Iron Man kid, because there's a boy and a girl that are both young. Riri Williams is Iron Heart, and then there's Iron Lad, and I believe he's a boy. But then you also have Morgan Stark. It's like, do you want to do Morgan Stark as an Iron Man? Because I feel like that would be sick. The actress that played Morgan Stark was rescued for Halloween, and it was just like, yeah, that would be fucking cool if Iron Man's daughter took up the mantle. But they brought the kid from Iron Man 3 back in Endgame, and again, like the reference to Miles Morales, I don't think that was just, hey, let's have him here. I think that was maybe, we're going to have him here so we could use him in the future.
That goddamn kid in Endgame threw so many people for a loop. I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
Everyone was like, who is that?
I'm like mourning Tony Stark, and everyone's just like, what? Yeah, who the hell is this guy? That Isaiah Bradley story is awesome. I had no idea that had that
really cool, right? I hope they get into that in the show. I hope they like actually talk about it.
I almost feel a little Watchmen parallels, right? Where you hear about, what was the Hooded Justice, right? And kind of his backstory. And it feels kind of like that, where he was this dude and he kind of just, and he does this thing and he ends up getting, screwed for it in the long run. And the guy looks so badass. I just looked up his like pictures here on the internet, and oh my God, it's like a fucking like beast mode motherfucker, just chugging people. That's awesome. And just seeing him rock the Cap outfit would be cool too. So I hope we get like some sort of a flashback, even if it's like another, just like a 5-minute thing. Doesn't need to be the whole episode. That's cool.
Nightmare, okay. Maybe he has a nightmare Winter Soldier about getting the arm ripped off by him. We get to see like a young version, him in his prime. That would be kind of dope.
Let me just say this right now. Isaiah Bradley, no chance of ending up on the Hydra list. Zero.
No, definitely not. He's the man. Our final question comes from Ryan Dietrich, and I don't know if I said his last name right. I hope I did. He said, do you think by the end of the series, we will end up rooting for John Walker? I think this is such a great question, because I could see it going both ways. By the end of the series, maybe we go, hey, we were wrong about him. He was a good guy all along. He did the right thing. Maybe he saves Bucky or Sam in the end. Or the end of the series, he may be full fucking Hydra, fully corrupted by the fact that he has to uphold to Captain America's ideologies and be this guy that everyone wants him to be. And he becomes so obsessed with not wanting to fail everyone that he starts cutting corners, doing bad things. I think in the comics, he's called U.S. Agent. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, if the U.S. Agent is a villain or a hero. But maybe by the end of the series, he'll be the U.S. Agent and Sam will be Captain America.
Yeah, I don't see how we're gonna root for him. Then again, like he's gonna go on an episode of Part of My Take, and I'm gonna like him. Like those motherfuckers made me like Foul Wall Guy and Marlins Man and all these just crazy people that I never liked at all. I don't like Marlins Man anymore, but he did have a minute where I was like, oh, this guy's kind of like funny, and I was like, oh no, he's just a complete lunatic. But I just don't see how I'm gonna like this guy. I'm never going to trust him, and it's 90. He gets a new chin. There's a chance for it. He just, like you said, he seems like fake Razor Ramon, and he just has a hardo vibe to him. Like the vibes are off, the chin is off. You can't have that much going against. He's replacing a goddamn legend, and he's just said the wrong thing every single time he has the chance. I just don't see it happening. Which then, again, my dumb brain is like, well, then it's obviously happening. This is Marvel. They're throwing you off. I'm going to say no, though. I'm going to lean with you. I'm going to say no. And I feel like, if anything, he becomes, someone we're rooting against and be some sort. I don't think there'll be like a super villain group, but I think he'll be out there as a potential villain. He has super serum, right?
I don't think so. No, I think he just tested highest in his class and every chart, every estimation, whatever.
So he's just doing that with the shield, just on fucking Cheerios. Damn, God bless him. And now this is my other question: are those vaccines? Are they super serum?
I don't know. I don't know what the vaccines were, but maybe they're trying to distribute them to like the people that weren't blipped away. Their whole thing is the government cares more about the people that just got blipped back than the people that were here the whole time. I don't know what exactly the vaccines were.
I didn't know if it was some sort of soup. I think my wife said it was at the serum, and I was like, shit, I didn't think about that. But it could be something else where I mean, they could be trying to help like people with like diseases, like deadly diseases. And
Yeah, they could be trying to kill people too, Clem. They're villains.
Vaccines? Oh, Bob's an anti-vaxxer too. Anti-vaxxer. I have one vaccine down.
No. I'm getting a vaccine. Don't worry. I'm not an anti-vaxxer.
Don't you cut this, Bob. Don't you cut this.
I'm not cutting it. I'm leaving it in. Everyone knows. Especially for if you're listening to the podcast, please watch the YouTube if for nothing but see my face when Clem suggested that. That's it for Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2. This is our breakdown of it. We will be back next week with a breakdown, but if any news breaks in the nerdy world between now and then, who knows? You might get hit with a YouTube video. Make sure to subscribe to that channel. If you're looking to get some 3Chi, go to 3chi.com. Use the promo code MMB for My Mom's Basement. You'll get 5% off your complete order. And don't forget, this Wednesday night, One Championship makes its debut on TNT.